Welcome back, everyone. I'm the Depressed Eeyore, and this is Battlestar Galactica on Tabletop Simulator. We are at 5 distance, so we did go through the sleeper agent phase. Not that it really matters. We already know who this cylon is, which is Callie. Callie has opened with immediately executing somebody, and then got thrown in the brig and then executed herself. And since then, the two remaining engineers have been just struggling to try to keep up with fending off the massive amounts of raiders that have just been destroying civvy ships. We've used all of our nukes that were pretty ineffective. We currently are at a derelict base star with a heavily damaged base star, and then the remaining civvy ships out in the field. It's Doc's turn. Chief is still in jail, and yeah, it's gonna be good times. Alright, so what we're going to do this turn is we're going to go to command, and we're going to go ahead and send out a Viper Mark 7, and then move it to the back. That is it. Alright, crisis. Admiral chooses. I'll return all undamaged Vipers to the on the game board to reserves, then the Admiral must discard 2 random skill cards. Or -1 morale and damage the Galactica once. I just deployed that Viper, but my morale is currently at 4. And we are going to have some trouble soon anyway, so yeah, we'll go ahead and return the Viper to reserves. Discard 2 random skill cards, so our Admiral currently is Doc because Chief got thrown in jail, and he's been essentially just giving orders from jail this entire time. Okay. Those are fine. Alright. Alright, Base Star is going to deploy raiders. So, even though it's heavily damaged, it still can do all of its functions. And that's it for the turn. Alright, with that, it goes to Callie. Callie's just going to draw some politics. Okay. She has a full hand now, good for her. Alright. And then what she's going to do she's got choices. I think she's just going to I think she's going to start putting pressure on the Centauran track. Yep, she's going to go ahead and activate heavy raiders and move that Centauran up a space. Get that ball rolling. All right, goes to Chief. Okay, state of emergency, that's a good thing to have. Bad news is state of emergency does affect the cylon, which is bad. We don't want that, actually. So yeah, we can't use it. Alright, well, we can EXO. And I think that's what we're going to end up doing. So for EXO, we're going to go ahead and activate command. Actually, we'll do this, and then activate command. Send these away. Alright, resolves EXO. He needs to discard. Just discard some repairs. Okay. Then it goes to Chief. Or not Chief, but Doc. Also, I needed to discard with Doc, so I'm going to do that now. Alright, now you can draw. Alright, so what he's going to do for his turn is he's going to go ahead and deploy another Viper and then move it. I don't want to get rid of that civvy ship just yet, but we might need to soon. Crisis. Admiral chooses. The current player is executed and the Admiral discards 3 skill cards. We can't afford that. I mean, the bad part is it's not just the morale loss, it's when you get executed you lose all your cards, and he's kind of the only person that can even do any crises right now. So we're just going to damage the Galactica twice, and all of it's going to the Pegasus, and we're just going to wreck the Pegasus. And then the base starts going to fire. Misses, thankfully, and then we get a jump prep. Alright. Goes to Callie. Callie is just going to keep drawing some of these. And you'll discard that later. Yeah, we'll discard those in a bit. Okay. I'm discarding a little ahead of time, but I'm just getting it out of the way. But yeah, she's just going to keep pushing this into turn at this point. Alright, goes to Chief. Chief is going to go ahead and draw his usual. Cannot move. Can you still play a movement card? Let's find out. Okay, confirmed. You can use movement abilities. You just can't move out of the brig. So I'm going to go ahead and just play preventative policy then. I'm going to pick population just to get that out of the way. So that's going to be active. We'll put it over here with, I don't know, population. So if we do lose any population... Oh wait, sorry. Why are you playing there? Oh wait, it is his turn. I keep forgetting to move the red dot. Boop. So yeah, for his move, he's going to do preventative policy. He's going to pick population and reduce the next time it gets reduced by 1, if it does happen. And then his action is he's going to executive order. I mean, actually, there's no reason to play this. It can't actually happen. But oh well, that's fine. So yeah, we'll just play executive order and do it on Doc. And Doc is going to go to Armory and start shooting at that Centurion and hope for the best. No one has anything that can help boost it. And it missed. Alright. Chief is just going to discard a bunch of shit. Okay. I need to discard one more. That card. Okay. Also, Doc needed to discard cards like a million years ago. We'll discard... I'll discard those cards. So yeah, that's from last turn. That should have been discarded a while ago. I would have thought a 3-player game would be this hectic. Alright. He gets a politics, 2 tactics. Oh, strategic planning, that's something at least. Engineering. Okay. Yeah, his best bet right now is just a fire. So he's going to go ahead and stay in place, shoot the armory. Strategic plan is going to add 2 to the result. And doesn't matter. We had calculations ready just in case, but a 1 is a 1, and that's not going to help us any. Alright, let's get our crisis. Silent tracking device. No. Fails to destroy a Raptor and place a base star in front of the Galactica and 2 civilian ships behind it. Not a big deal. Chief's gonna go ahead and play Restore Order. So skill check effects will not trigger. And then that's it. Alright, so first it's gonna go to Callie, and since obviously skill effects are not gonna do anything, she's just going to go ahead and play that card. And then Chief gets to play a card. Go ahead and play that. And then Duck is just going to throw everything he's got. Alright, let's see what happens. I just threw a bunch of cards in here, which is probably a super amount of overkill, but we'll see. So, engineering counts as double. Trust instincts. More stuff. Actually, oh, skill checks don't do anything in this, so yeah, there's no point in throwing that in there. So I'm not going to throw that in there, because that's dumb. Same thing with the install upgrades. Because yeah, these things don't trigger. I'm putting Trust Instincts in there because I want to get rid of it anyway. So that's -10. Which that brings up to 9, 15. Yeah, it's a fail. If I dumped more cards into it, I would have actually passed. In fact, I would have pumped more cards into it. But that was my mistake. So yeah, it's a fail. Yeah, I got mixed up. I completely forgot that Restore Order would have canceled all the skill checks. In any case, it's a fail. I'll lose 1 Raptor. And then put a base star in front. And 2 of these civvy ships in the back. Could have been worse. Raiders activate. Like so. Goes to Callie's turn. Callie's just going to draw some cards. You'll discard that card. Alright. That's done. She's just going to push that Centurion. Alright. Goes to Chief. This is their last chance. Well, they got 2 chances left to take out the Centurion. So here goes nothing. He's going to go ahead and Exo. Doc. Doc is going to go ahead and activate Armory. Alright, that is a miss. And then again, that is also a miss. He needs to discard. I have so many cards. We'll drop Investigative Committee. Okay. So that was Chief's turn. I keep getting that mixed up. Also, I could have been using Chief's like fancy ability if I really wanted to. He does have a once per game that's actually useful. But for the most part, that's not our biggest problem right now. It really isn't. I just need a freaking... that card that lets you change movement into an action. Alright, it's down to this. It's just going to be a D8. I'm activating the armory. I'm not moving anything. I have to do this. And it's a fail. So we'll go ahead and flip over the Crisis. It's not going to matter. It's going to do Battlestar fires. Both of them are going to fire. They're going to hit. And they hit on a 4 to 8. So they actually hit twice. I'm just going to take the minus food. And then we're just going to flip 2 of these. That would have been Admiral's Quarters and Command. Doesn't really matter because it goes to Callie's turn, and Callie's just going to push the Centaur into endgame. So that is the Cylon victory, which honestly I think that was kind of fair after the clean sweep. That was the human victory before this one, but that was just brutal. It was kind of a vicious combo. Callie started out with a card that literally can execute somebody. A lot of people gripe about that particular card. The one that's it's the 6 cost politics card that allows you to essentially just do things on this board that without having to do an actual skill check. So she was just like, all right, I'll execute somebody. If they hadn't thrown her into the brig, she would have killed another person with her once per game ability. They couldn't keep her around, so they executed her. To be honest, I think the best... It might have been better just to keep her in jail, but actually that probably would not have worked. Yeah, because she would have tried to get mutiny cards or something and then try to get herself out that way. I mean, I guess the one thing she could have done was, you know, shoot herself, play the UR Cylon, and just get out that way. But either way, they had to kind of deal with her first, and that kind of allowed the Cylon fleet to get a little out of control. And then they were just kind of playing catch up the entire time. The Assault Raptor was really helpful until it got shot down, and then things just kind of spiraled out of control at that point because they were. Once you get the Raiders in the back of the Galactica, you're kind of in deep trouble because that's where usually the civvy ships spawn because of treachery cards. But yeah, a lot of things just did not go the humans' way. They had some really bad crises. They lost a whole lot of civvy ships. Their nukes were just bad. Just didn't really get far with those. And yeah, I mean, we pretty much obliterated the Pegasus pretty quickly. And once Chief was in jail, like you could have got him out of jail and maybe had him help out, but he was actually just better off giving Exos. And that was kind of what really kind of hurt a lot of this was simply the fact that Doc can't do Exos, and so he literally had to just do all the work himself. The engineering cards were kind of interesting. I had really bad luck with tactics. I did not get the cards I was looking for. Yeah, critical situation. I was looking for those, and I don't think I got a single one of them, and that was not great. Callie got a bunch of really good treachery cards. She got some of the 3 and 5 costs, which actually do pretty nasty things. Didn't do anything with the President cards. I just didn't have time. There was just so much stuff going on with the Cylon fleets. Essentially, every time things were kind of calm, quote unquote, I mean, the Cylon would just focus on either delaying the jump or pushing the pursuit track, while constantly putting more civvy ships on the board. So it was just constant pressure by that. And then she'll occasionally switch over to Centaurians and try to push that instead. And eventually something had to give. I mean, if it wasn't that, it was going to be the civvy ships. Speaking of the civvy ships, this one had morale and people. Fuel and people. And this last one had people. So yeah, if these had been taken out, it would have been game over that way. Which would not have been pretty. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. It was definitely really, really hectic. There was just a lot of stuff going on. We were just throwing cards like crazy, discarding often. It was just brutal overall. The engineering cards were pretty interesting. Like I said, the scientific research spam was kind of nice to be able to kind of just solve problems with just raw engineering. But like I said, a lot of the cards we got were not too useful. State of Emergency could have been helpful, but in a 3-player game with one of them being a cylon, it would have just killed us faster. So it was just bad all the time. I mean, what could have happened is I could have done State of Emergency, then Executive Order, and got one more attack off. And that would have actually done it. But by then, she would have pushed... Well, it wouldn't have done it. It would have gotten another roll, but that if we were going by the order of the rolls we were getting, it just would have ended the game sooner. So, just ended up the way it was. Like I said, the biggest issue is we had... it was the silent fleets. Like, we just could not keep that under control. And once we jumped a few times, all we had was the Assault Raptor, and we just didn't have time to deal with everything else. We had the Centurions that we had to always take out, and since we were dealing with the Centurions, we weren't deploying Vipers. And if we were deploying Vipers, we weren't dealing with the Centurion. If we weren't deploying, Vipers, then our civvy ships would get destroyed. It was just one thing after the other. One tactic I was considering doing was just getting rid of all the civvy ships as best as I can, and then just letting the Raiders just shoot the Galactica. If there are no civvy ships on the board, the Raiders will shoot Galactica, and they hit on 8s, which is not a common roll, but it can definitely add up when there's a lot of them. There was just so many options by the end. Even if they somehow took care of the Centurion, I could have done things like try to damage the Galactica or whatever nonsense, but in the end I was like, I just activate them. I'll just activate the ships and just swarm everything. It's a lot more effective than the roll a die thing. So, yeah, that was pretty intense. Not sure what I'll do next. I could do a 5-player, or I might do one more 3-player. The 5-player would have 2 potential Cylons, no Mutineer, and I think it would show it a little bit more off as far as the dangers of running out of skill cards. Because as you can see, with 3 players, you can just throw all your cards at it, and usually you'll just get refreshed every 3rd turn essentially. But yeah, also with 5 players, you get a little bit. You do have some forced variety, or you either have a lot of support, or you have people that are doubled up on a certain role, which can affect things like lines of succession and things like that. But we'll see. First, I need to actually, edit all these videos and get it ready for YouTube, and then maybe actually upload them. Anyway, I am the Depressed Hero, and this was Battlestar Galactica. For some reason, I wanted to say Final Fantasy Tactics, which doesn't make any sense. But yeah, this is Battlestar Galactica, not that other game. On Tabletop Simulator. See you guys next time.